Wednesday, my dudes, and in this video we are reviewing episode 2 of Hawkeye. I did my review for episode 1, which you can go check out. I will be sure to put this all in a playlist and also link it up above in the cards so that you don't miss that one. But if you're coming over from that one, welcome. Let's hop into episode 2. So what I love so much about episode 2 is that it picks up right where episode 1 left off, and this is why I think it was brilliant that episode 1 linked Kate and Clint up at the very end of the episode. Not only was it a great cliffhanger, but it was also a great way to add momentum to the start of episode 2, that we don't have to awkwardly see how these characters come together or kind of have that end of the story there and then continue on. I feel like that was just a perfect way to start the episode, of them going back to Kate's apartment and then kind of getting right back into things with the Tracksuit Mafia. Like, that was just absolutely brilliant in my opinion, and I really loved it. I also really liked how this sets up the stakes of the series. Now, obviously we see the Ronin suit and the Ronin sword in the black market auction in episode 1. But in this episode is when we actually realize that, like, it goes missing, this suit, and if Clint doesn't get this, there's like a risk that either Kate will be a danger, his secret will be exposed, and he'll never kind of be able to retire away quietly. So I think setting this suit up as like, I need to get this suit so I can kind of destroy this suit so I can move on and go home to my wife. Thought that was really great, and in the process it gives like the characters really funny tasks to do. Like, obviously if the ninja suit, the Ronin suit, has been stolen by, let's say, a New York firefighter who is also a LARPer, then that sends Clint to a really fun place in a situation that he is absolutely not having, and I thought it was so funny. I also really liked how that scene specifically really built on Clint's like awkwardness of how he feels about being a superhero and a hero, if you will. Like, I feel like this was established in the first episode when he's at the restaurant and he's like, you don't have to pay for my meal, like I can pay for it. I think he just sees himself still as an average guy, and because he's not a Thor or a Tony Stark and doesn't have this larger than life persona, and he's not immediately recognizable like someone like a Natasha would be with her red hair. I like how this series is setting up that he just kind of is uncomfortable with that spotlight, and he kind of just really does want to disappear, whereas someone like Kate is a little bit more, she needs to be toned down, and that's why I think their dynamic works so well, which leads me to their banter, which is absolutely fantastic. You can just tell that Jeremy and Haley like really like talked about how they were going to go about this and had some natural chemistry and friendship to really make this banter come alive, because it definitely could read as like super boring guy who is annoyed by this overeager girl who's trying to do her best. But I like that Kate proves herself to him, and he's like simultaneously sort of impressed, but he also doesn't want to encourage her to do something reckless or dangerous, and so I really just like that dynamic of the two of them together, and I'm so excited that we're kind of wasting no time getting them together, because episode 1, I agree, needed to be an introduction for Kate, and that's why it was good that it was a Kate-centric episode in my mind. But by episode 2, it makes total sense to have the two of them together, because this is only a 6-episode series, and so we kind of need to get to the point quickly. And I feel like this story so far has been so efficient, setting up the stakes, having that timeline of 6 days till Christmas, or I guess 5 now at the end of this episode, and I'm just really liking the way all of this is taking place. Back to the Ronin suit, I love the call with Mrs. Hawkeye at home while she is making gingerbread houses with her kids who are home safely. I like that establishment that, like, okay, they didn't get kidnapped or something at the airport, like they're home safe with their mom. But I really liked the fact, and it could, you know, some people may see it as a throwaway line, but the fact that Laura Barton knows that her husband was Ronin. And I love that because it says so much about their relationship, that when she came back from the blip, that Clint would say to her, like, listen, I did these really horrible things and I need you to know these things. And also, like, having to explain to her that Nat is dead, and partially so that he could survive. Like, I like that that establishes how their relationship is behind closed doors, that they've had all these conversations and that they are so close as husband and wife. But I also kind of liked the fun stuff that she was like, do what Nat would do, and kind of like joking about the Tracksuit Mafia. Like, I feel like so many times in superhero movies, it's so easy to keep like the wife or girlfriend or sidekick character kind of in the dark until they're like really needed. But I like the fact that here, like, Laura is just gonna pop up probably in one phone call each episode to remind Clint of like, I want to be home, I want to be home, I want to be home. but I thought that was just such a nice little touch, and I really thought that said a lot about them as characters, their relationship, their family dynamic, and how they are surviving. It's not like Clint has held on to these secrets completely by himself. He's shared them with his wife, who is willing to keep them with him. I also really liked the parallels of mentorship, and this might be a little bit of a spoiler coming from the comics, but I really like the parallels of mentorship between how Jack is sort of trying to, you know, egg on Kate, maybe sort of be her stepdad, get her to accept him, and then Clint is also, or unwillingly, he has sort of found himself in a position where he is Kate's mentor. Then there is the comic book situation that Jack was Clint's mentor back in the day, and I just knew that when Kate was in the car, in the taxi cab, driving to where Clint was, I knew she was going to be like, listen, we gotta talk about this guy, you're never gonna believe who my mom's trying to marry, and she's gonna tell him, and then he's gonna be like, whoa, it's way worse than I thought, and so I'm so excited to see that bomb drop. But for now, in case they, for some reason, choose to go a different route and that not be Clint and Jack's history, I'm totally okay with that. But I did really love, and in this episode specifically, all of the little Easter eggs that they set up. I'm planning to make a video to explain all of these Easter eggs, probably sometime later this week or beginning of next week before we get the next episode of Hawkeye, but there were just so many Easter eggs and references to the comic, specifically Matt Fraction's comic. Again, I sound like a broken record, but I just thought they were so well thrown in there, and it was one of those things where it was like, to non-readers of the comics, it's like no big deal, not distracting from the story, but for those who did, it's just like a little extra treat, and if you know situation. I love. Also, I am loving these Hawkeye cliffhangers. I thought the ending with the introduction of Echo and her like discussing with Ivan when the Tracksuit Mafia has both Clint and Kate, I thought that was brilliant. Aleko Cox looks kind of terrifying, I'll be honest, and I'm really excited to see her next episode, which I do believe will, I jumped the gun and said that this episode 2, I thought we were going to see Yelena. I think we're going to see it in episode 3, because I think Yelena might try to like snatch Clint and Kate away from Echo, because there is that clip going around the internet from the TV spot of the 3 of them fighting on the roof. At least I think it's the 3 of them. So I think that's what we're going to see next episode, but I'm just so excited to get to know Maya Lopez and to see where she goes in the future. And I love now that like there's added investment in this character who could otherwise just be, some people be like, oh, she's just the villain. But because she has her own series announced now by Disney Plus, I am super excited to like get to know her and see where her story is headed to. Those are just my thoughts on the Hawkeye episode 2 though. What did you think of episode 2 of Hawkeye? Please let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video so that I know to keep doing these reviews or character breakdowns or like Easter egg explorations for you guys, but also be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss any of these Hawkeye specific uploads from me, as well as any of the other entertainment reviews, recaps, or reactions that I do on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely marvelous day, and I will see you all in my very next video. Bye y'all.